Well, greetings to you. I'm just going to outline a few things that certainly legacy media have missed. What a surprise is that? But it's the in-depth ideology of this government, not so different in point of fact from the last government, but rather more overt. It is run by Marxists, and they are globalists, and they're fairly unashamed and they don't really deny it. I have on my channel, on my CV on the X channel, which incidentally is still heavily shadow banned in spite of what Elon Musk says. I've tried all sorts of tricks, it just doesn't work. But there we are, leaving that aside. This Marxist theory, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a conspiracy analyst. So we know that people like Ed Miliband, Keir Starmer and others come from a fairly dyed-in-the-wool Marxist or communist background. That's what they are and that's what they do. So there are some things which are happening which seem to be going unremarked in the main by legacy media, and that is things such as the new bill for tenants and landlords that's gone through now, and that's quite a complicated piece of legislation, but broadly the thrust of it is, and it's fairly unashamedly, to see if they can drive out private landlords, because globalist and Marxist and communist theory do not like private landlords. They're quite self-confessed about it. And of course there's another piece of legislation going through which people haven't yet quite picked up on, it seems to me, and that's the Employees Protection Bill. And that's halfway through and it's very complex, and it's not yet law, but it's going through because Marxists and globalists do not like private employers. And you see going in and out of number 10 Downing Street, you see Larry Fink of BlackRock, you see Bill Gates going out, who's one of the largest agricultural landowners in the United States, going in and out of number 10, almost sort of free access, and it asks you, why would they be doing that? Why are they going in and out? And the answer to that, of course, is fairly obvious, and that is when you see the inheritance tax burden that's put upon family farms, and the legislation for employees is preventing people from employment, and that's just been a recent assessment of that. 4 out of 5 small companies are saying when that becomes law, if it becomes law, it'll mean that just employing people will be suicidal. And I've made this point for many, many decades. The small businesses are the lifeblood, they're the backbone of the economy in this country, and indeed a lot of countries. And every piece of legislation that comes out seems to be designed to stop small businesses flourishing. They like big corporations, big business, you might call it fascism. They like big business which they can control, or as part of their unit, the big players in the game that make up the FTSE 100. But the FTSE 100 is not really the United Kingdom economy. It's all the other companies, small companies that make up that on this economy that we have. And it's true of other countries in the world as well. It's true of the United States and many others. Small and medium-sized companies are the core of the economy. So they're doing their best to stop small businesses. They're doing their best to get rid of private landlords. And so it goes on and it goes on. And more regulation in almost every field that we have. And of course legislation and high taxation, which we also have as a follow-on from the last government, is suppressing the economy and the energy lunacy that we see going on with the windmills and all the rest of it, which is giving us the most expensive electricity in the world. And we're still buying energy from places like Norway and nuclear energy from France in order to keep our businesses running at a very, very heightened cost. You do not need a great deal of economic brain power to understand that this is quite deliberate. This is quite deliberate, as indeed, of course, you link it with mass immigration of all of unskilled labour coming into the country. And you can forget religion, forget skin colour and all the rest of it. It's unskilled labour coming in their hundreds of thousands, which the only place for them, of course, is on welfare. And these are the sort of problems that the economy has. You cannot build an economy on this basis. And I just wish that the so-called opposition parties, Legacy and Wannabes and all the rest of it, would flag some of these things up. But of course, the problem is they don't have anybody who's seriously trained in economics, real economics, and particularly Austrian school economics. Because the government is your enemy in almost every field. It doesn't matter whether it's business, whether it's energy, whether it's immigration. The government is your enemy because they want the country to fail. Because failure means they can replace and digital ID and all the rest of it. They can then install their totalitarian state. To me, it's obvious, and to a few others, it's obvious. But 80% of the electorate seem fast asleep. Everybody seems fast asleep, and they're doing it more and more encroachment on a daily basis. I can spot it. I don't know whether you can spot it. I think you'll spot it if you look for it. It's one of those things that if you know it's there and you're looking for it, you'll find it. It's when you don't understand what's going on that it creeps up on you. Ponder that, if you will. Ponder that, and have a look at when you're any form of election turns up next time round. See what they've actually got to say. Don't put up with all this drum beating and shouting and grandstanding. What is it you're actually going to do for the economy? And when push comes to shove, it's the economy that affects your family. It's your family's responsibility to run their own economy in the right way, which in the main they do. But they're fighting against an administration in this country at the moment which simply doesn't like us, who wants us to fail. As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based. And I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.